There's a sentiment going around the online homesteading community that I've noticed, and I think it could be summed up like this. Homesteading is really hard. Homesteading is overglorified. Homesteading is more than just Instagram chickens and sitting around in your brand new Carhartts drinking bone broth. If you're from the city and you think homesteading is going to be easy, boy, have you got something coming to you. In short, I think it can be summed up like this. Homesteading is about more than just an internet trend. It's a lifestyle, and it's probably not as fun as you might think it is. Now, like I said, I've been seeing a lot of that sentiment expressed online, especially within the past few months. For good reason, right? It's fair to say that interest in this lifestyle has exploded, especially because of the pandemic and political uncertainty. I get it. And people that have no business raising a goldfish are all of a sudden sketching out plans for 100-head cattle concerns. And while I definitely agree that there's nothing easy about homesteading, not by a long shot, I also realize that I'm one of those people that are new to it. And because of that, I'm in a position where I can tell you what it's like from someone who did take the leap, from someone who's on the other side of it. So what has my experience been like? Well, I've been doing this for just about 3 months now, and while those 3 months certainly haven't been a Swiss picnic, I'm not dead or broke or even remotely discouraged yet. And yes, I know, it's only 3 months. Just wait a year, you might say. Then the bloom will be off the rose. Catastrophes will occur, animals will get sick and die, crops will go bad. That's all true. There's also the fact that, look, I'm still operating here at essentially the hobby level. I've got some chickens and some land that I haven't really done anything with yet. I'm nowhere close to being self-sufficient. So on the one hand, I can definitely understand where people are coming from when they caution you to look past the sepia Instagram filters to realize that this is more than just some fun internet trend that you can jump into willy-nilly. However, I'd like to make the argument that if you come at this with a healthy dose of humility and an understanding that you will mess things up, well, this can be a pretty rewarding lifestyle. At least that's where I'm at 3 months in. With all that being said, I wanted to highlight 3 projects that I took on in these first 3 months. The common thread between these 3 projects is that I'd never done any of those things before. I had 0 experience to bring to the table. And the moral of the story, I think, is that if I can do it, an absolute novice, then I think you can too. The first big project that I took on, of course, is the chickshaw. In fact, I think I started building this thing before I even had the chickens. Now, according to the plans, you're supposed to finish this thing in 2 days or so. Well, it took me the better part of 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks to get this thing knocked out. I also spent way more than I probably should have in order to do it. But the fact is that I did it. Now, the sum total of my carpentry knowledge is limited to a brief class I took in 10th grade where I built a box that didn't even latch properly. So the idea of taking something like this on was daunting, to say the least. But here we are. I've got myself a functional piece of farm equipment that the chickens use every single day without complaint. The second big project that I took on in these past 3 months was these rain barrels. It's at this point I'd like to send a special shout out to my friend Nate Kramer from the Kramer Life. If you haven't checked out his channel, do so now. He helped me to pick these things up. Now, this was another intimidating project because these weren't prefabricated for me. I had to go in and cut all the holes myself. I had to buy the faucet hardware and install that myself. I had to cut down the downspouts from the gutters and put in these little flex hoses. All things that I had never done before and was just kind of hoping would work out. Well, needless to say, the project did work out, and I've substantially cut down on the moisture in my crawl space because of it. The third big project that I took on in these past 3 months, again, something I'd never done before, was build a French drain system in my front pasture. As you might remember in the past few videos, we discovered that some of our gray water is being shifted out from our house and deposited here in the front pasture. Part of that pipe broke, and so we had pooling water right here. So what I tried to initially do was just dig straight down at the point of the leak and fill that hole with gravel. It didn't work. I needed to dig out a full-on 20-foot French drain trench. I did that. I extended the PVC pipe out 10 feet, and then I added a corrugated French drain tube at the end of it, covered it back up with the dirt, and tested it out. Well, needless to say, it works. I've got this little overflow cap at the end here, and any water that does make it through the French drain trickles right down to this thirsty cedar. Eventually, Holly and I end up planning on putting a garden here in between these two cedars that will use that extra moist ground for help growing, probably flowers or something like that. So there you have it, 3 projects that an absolute novice was able to take on and accomplish with relative competence. Now, yes, those things cost money, but I can guarantee you they cost a far sight less than they would have had I hired somebody out. Now, that actually brings me to the original question. What do I think as a rookie of my first 3 months trying this homesteading thing? Well, 2 things. Number 1, those people that tell you that homesteading is really, really hard and shouldn't be taken lightly, they're right. But number 2, just because something's hard, that doesn't mean it's not worth trying, especially if you're passionate about it. When Holly and I made the decision back in July or August to buy this land and start sourcing our own food, I'm confident that we made the right decision. I'm still confident of that now as we enter December. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I'm always super grateful for your views and your encouragement in the comments. I'm over 100 subscribers now, and that means so much to me that you guys are taking the time out of your lives to watch what we're doing here at Penny Hen Farm. So hope all is well with you, and until next time, we'll talk to you soon.